Good morning or afternoon, depending on when you're watching this, and welcome back to Ascendria Tarot. My name is Caitlin. I am co-owner of Ascendria here in Polson, Montana, and we are starting to get some of our fall inventory in. It seems to be going pretty quick, so if you're local, definitely come in and check out some of the new stuff we have. We don't have like a ton of new stuff, but we are starting to get some new stuff in, and that's exciting. Progress, not perfection. Any other updates? We've got our Maybon gathering coming up, not this weekend, but next weekend. We also have my mom's birthday coming up this weekend. I will not divulge her age, as she probably wouldn't want me to. So yeah, we've got her birthday coming up this weekend, and then we've got our Maybon gathering coming up next weekend. I did send out invites for that. We will just be doing kind of a fall harvest feast, and I think we'll do like a little seasonal activity after the feast. Anything else? Nope. That's it for updates. The only disclaimer I usually like to give with tarot is take what resonates, leave the rest. And that can apply in so many different ways. You know, there's genders on the card. Don't get too caught up in those genders. It could be picking up on you or somebody else in your life, and it doesn't necessarily have to be male or female. These are just masculine and feminine energies. So basically, any time there's like a gender of the card or a timing of the reading, like, you know, this is being filmed and updated September 18th. So, you know, there's the timing, there's the gender, there's the fact that tarot will pick up on either present, past, future, whatever. If it's not resonating in the way that I am reading it, but you hear the meaning of the card and it resonates in a different way for you than what I'm speaking, take it how it resonates. And if the entire reading doesn't seem to fit your life, but you only there's only one nugget that you pick out that resonates, that's what I mean. Take what resonates, leave the rest. It might just be one nugget of information that was meant for you, and that's okay. And I think that is it for updates and disclaimers. So we'll go ahead and jump into the collective message. Okay, so this week's collective message is based on a conversation my mom and I had with one of our friends yesterday. And it's having profound effects in my life. It is about reflections and mirrors in our lives. And I wrote a little bit in my journal on it, and I'll speak a little bit more about it. But anyways, I watched a few videos on this concept of mirrors. It seems Carl Jung did a lot of work in this area of psychology. He is the one who coined the term shadow to refer to the subconscious, hidden aspects of ourselves that we have rejected until we became unaware of them. One thought I had in response to all that is how it reminds me of the parable of the two wolves within us. And if you haven't watched my previous videos, there's a reading I filmed not too long ago. I can't remember if it was last week or the week before. It would have been the week before. And it's on these two wolves. And if you haven't watched it, go ahead and watch that one and come back. if you want to. Anyways, the parable of the two wolves within us. If we starve the dark wolf, it will lurk around every corner to leap at any opportunity for attention. Because he talks about how these aspects of ourselves that we reject, it goes into the subconscious, the hidden, the shadow, and we become unaware of them, but they're still there. And when we get triggered, those aspects like to kind of jump out. So it's like the dark wolf lurking around every corner to gain attention, to gain awareness of it. When a mirror triggers us in a negative way, it is not a problem, but rather a teacher showing us an aspect of ourselves we've rejected. Which leads me to the other thought I had. All things, people, and encounters are reflections, but it is the ones that produce a negative response, such as anger, sadness, or fear, that show us the parts of ourselves that needs more love and acceptance, and to be integrated back into the conscious self. The positive reflections are the aspects we're already conscious of and have accepted. And maybe this is why there is so much fighting in the world these days. So many are being triggered by their own reflection. However, that is my perception of the world. So is it not just another reflection of myself? And if I continue with this perception, is that not all I will see in the world? Because there's this other concept of this mirror in the sense of beliefs. You know, one belief that I had been struggling with prior to this conversation we had was finding every task in my life to be difficult or hard or, it's work. And as long as I continue to view those tasks as difficult, the universe will say, yes, it is difficult. And it will show me all the ways it can be difficult. It reminds me of an affirmation I used a lot in the recent past. The universe can only provide you evidence to support your beliefs. So if you believe you're worthless, the universe can only show you evidence to prove that you are worthless. If you believe that you're bad at making money, the universe has no choice but to show you all the ways that you're bad at making money. So there's kind of these two aspects that I'm seeing to this mirror. Not only is it, our beliefs create our reality and reflect that back to us, but it's also our triggers are mirroring back to us the aspects of ourselves which we have denied or rejected, and it needs more love. So those are kind of two aspects of the mirrors that I'm seeing, at least in my own life, which is why I grabbed my chakra deck and the Gateway to Divine Tarot, and we're gonna get into the signs, or not the signs, but the elements of the signs, and figure out what area you may be experiencing mirrors. And maybe these are mirrors that you're unconscious of. Maybe you aren't aware that that is a mirror. So, without further ado, let's jump into the elements. Okay. Air signs. You are wanting to go next. I tried to get into your reading beforehand, and then I got so much I don't know if any of you have experienced this, but the burning burp where you kind of burp and it burns. So I don't know what's going on with y'all's throats, but Goodness. About took me out. Okay. So we're going to use the chakra deck to try to get an area where you might be experiencing these mirrors for air signs. What area might air signs be experiencing these mirrors? And if you just jumped into the signs and you didn't watch the collective message, watch it if you're called to. If not, I will kind of try to sum it up. We're talking about mirrors and reflections in the sense that whenever we are triggered, it is a mirror trying to show us what aspects of ourselves need more love, and then the other aspect of that mirror is our beliefs create our reality. So you got guidance, support, love, signs, and direction. And that's where your mirror is. Trying to think of how that's a mirror. It could be, like it doesn't feel like a trigger. It feels more on the belief aspect of like, if you believe life to be hard, the universe can only show you evidence to prove that life is hard. So it's almost like this card is trying to show your beliefs surrounding guidance from a higher power. God, universe, spirit, whatever. Because the one word on there that was drawing my attention the most was signs. Signs from God, signs from the universe. Give me more information. That's way too many. Come on. More information on this mirror for air signs. Okay, that's a little better. The Ten of Swords, which, yes, he does have 10 swords stabbing him in the back. It is very painful. Tens being endings. Well, endings and beginnings. So the Ten of Swords, it is a painful ending. But on the other side of that painful ending is an end to the suffering. More peace. The goodbye might be hard, but in not saying goodbye, it would be much harder. And then we have Page of Wands, which the pages can be messengers. They can also speak to childlike behavior, whether good or bad. In Wands being kind of, spirituality, creativity, ambition, power of will. The Page of Wands can either speak to kind of an immature outlook on that and having a little bit of hubris, thinking that the consequences can't touch you. Or it could just be, exploring and playing around with your magic, your power, your creativity, your ambitions. And then we have the Chariot, which also has to do with the power of will. It's if there are two opposing forces within you, it's giving them a common direction. It's steering them in the direction that you want to go. So this is almost like, the fight between the subconscious and the conscious, or the light and the dark, and you are using your power of will to direct both. I feel like this might go back to kind of the belief that, like, life is hard. Because, like, the Ten of Swords, well, yes, it does lead to peace. The being in that Ten of Swords energy can be pretty painful. The other part of this guidance card, one of the words on there is also support. So, in looking at the Ten of Swords, there may be a belief that, like, nobody has your back. Which might lead to kind of a false sense of kind of this I don't want to say arrogant, that seems a little too strong, but like this giving off this energy of, I prefer to be alone. I'm even getting the same thing with the Chariot of, like, directing that will and finding, a direction. It's almost like there's that belief that it's too hard. Let's get 2 more for air signs. So the 3 of Coins. Coins or Pentacles kind of deals with the physical realm. It can be money, just because us humans place value on that, and Pentacles does deal with values. The 3 of Coins specifically is like honing in on your craft, your skill, and practicing at it and working on it. Can we get 1 more for air signs? And then we have the 2 of Cups, which the 2 of Cups is like, it's a super healthy dynamic within a very close relationship. It doesn't have to be romantic. It could be, that one best friend, or mother-father, or like father-child, mother-child. It's some relationship where there's such a close and healthy dynamic between the 2 of you. Which is, I mean, it's not odd, but it's interesting that we have kind of a relationship card, and then we also have kind of a work card. As far as mirrors go, though, with the Page of Wands, I keep getting that, I keep coming back to that sense of arrogance. And guidance can speak to leadership, and so it might not even be a higher power, or maybe it is, if it's a higher power or authority in the physical realm, there might be a little bit of this arrogance of like they don't know how to lead, or maybe you think the leader is arrogant. And if that's triggering something within you, it's trying to show you something. It doesn't always necessarily mean that you are being arrogant. It could be a lot of these different negative behaviors were taught out of us growing up. And so if you had like kind of arrogant tendencies that were not loved or accepted as a child, that goes into the shadow. So maybe there are instances where you can get arrogant too. Or if it's not that you're being arrogant, I'm trying to think of like, because that's what I keep coming back to, is like, you might not be arrogant now, but maybe there is an aspect of yourself that is arrogant that you've rejected, denied. And accepting that and loving that is not necessarily letting that arrogance out. It's more freeing yourself of the judgment around those behaviors. We're all human. Because the thing I keep thinking about is my own anger and how I don't show my anger very often anymore. That wasn't something that was accepted growing up. That's not how I got love as a child. And so those are parts of myself that I have squashed, rejected. And so instead of showing that anger, I've internalized it. And so sometimes I have angry thoughts, but I don't show my anger. And even in feeling that anger, I keep trying to like get back to the love and like, oh, don't have angry thoughts, that's not nice. However, those are still aspects of myself, and the more that I try to get into that love and deny the anger, the more it's going to be lurking around every corner trying to get out. And so it's not that I need to let that anger out, it's I need to show those angry parts of myself more love and acceptance. And with the Ten of Swords, it could be either an arrogant leader is causing pain and distress, or maybe if you have unconscious tendencies towards arrogance, it could be creating situations that are painful because you're unconscious of that arrogance. You know, people might not respond well to that, but it's because of your own arrogance. And with like the Two of Cups and Three of Coins being like relationships and work, this could be a person at work, an authority figure. But it really just seems like that leader at work is triggering you somehow. Either pissing you off or making you afraid. I don't know. I'm getting more arrogance. So it might be somebody at work pissing you off. Or it could be somebody in a different area of your life. Like I say, take it as it resonates. But it's definitely stirring up some negative emotions. Yeah, another aspect of that is, you know, if it's not triggering your emotions, take a look at your thoughts that you have towards this person. Because when I was looking at the Chariot over here and how it's about direction, maybe you're looking at this leader or authority figure at work and thinking you have no sense of direction. Like you don't even know how to direct your people. So then what I've been trying to do with these kinds of thoughts is replace you with I. I have no sense of direction. I don't know how to lead my people. And then see how that feels. Because sometimes, ooh, it hits right on the frickin' money. And honestly, even taking a look at that thought in that way will just change something in your brain. And I don't want to say it's painful, but it is kind of a goodbye to that old way of thinking. The perception will, that perception shift of you don't know how to direct people versus I don't know how to direct people, it can kind of create a sense of like shame of like, shit, I've been doing that and I've been judging this person for it, but I've been doing it myself. So it does create a little bit of sadness or shame or regret. But the good news is in that moment you can choose to think differently and your external will shift as well. Could be instantaneous, could not be. It depends on, you know, your belief in that, you know, because our beliefs are reflected back to us. So if we're thinking it's not going to be instantaneous, it's not going to be instantaneous. But well, and that does go along with the Ten of Swords, because even though it is kind of a painful ending to that thought process, the result is so worth it. The result is peace. I think that feels pretty complete. Yeah. If it doesn't, let me know. If this is where we part, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It does help the channel to grow. And then I would also like to extend a reminder that I do offer personal readings. They're not just in person. I do readings via email as well, so you don't have to be local. You can order online. You can either go to our Facebook page, Ascendria, and click the Book Now button, or you can go to our website. It's ascendriallc.com, and then it should be on the home page, but you can book a tarot reading that way as well. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that reminder out there that I do personal readings, and I can do it via email if you're not local. And yeah, have a good rest of your week, and I will see you next week. Bye. Okay, water signs, you are up next. If you just jumped into your sign and you have not watched the collective message, you can either go back and watch it if you would like, or I can briefly explain it. We are talking about mirrors today. And two aspects of that mirror is our beliefs form our reality. If you believe life is hard, the universe has no choice but to provide you evidence to support your belief. So if you believe life is hard, the universe says, yes, life is hard. Let me show you how. And the other aspect of this mirror is when somebody else triggers us, it's actually an aspect of ourselves. So if we reject something within somebody else, we're rejecting an aspect of ourselves. Everything's a mirror. Okay, so we will be using the chakra deck to figure out what area you may be experiencing these mirrors. Compassion. Caring, empathy, acceptance, and gentleness. This world could use a little bit more compassion. And if we have the belief that the world does not have any compassion these days, it's like I said in my journal entry, that is our perception of the world. And if we continue to believe that the world has no compassion in it, that is what we will see. If we believe a certain person has no compassion, number one, that is all we will see in them. And number two, like I told air signs, pay attention to your thoughts around somebody. If you're thinking, oh, they're so, they lack compassion, replace you with I. Replace they with I. I have no compassion. And then take a look at how that feels, and then what areas of your life are you not having much compassion for people and things. do we have for water signs regarding compassion and mirrors? We have faith, which usually says to me, trust the process, but when we have compassion here, it makes me think of Jesus. I mean, he was the ultimate embodiment of compassion. I think any good higher power or leader or authority has compassion. Anything else for water signs? And then we have, Ten of Cups. Ten of Cups in this deck is all about that cozy comfort. I mean, usually the tens are a culmination of things. It's the ending and beginning. The Ten of Cups is like you've reached the desired life. You've reached like max, not max, but like peak abundance of like life for you looks good right now. It's cozy, it's comforting, it's warm. It's got all the feel-goods wrapped up in it. If we think about it in terms of like tens in the suits, it goes ace through the 10, and the 10 is like, you know, like I said, it's the culmination. It's peak endings. And this is almost like, you know, if we think of it as like mastery of the suit, with cups being intuition and relationships, 10 of Cups says like you've mastered how to navigate a healthy relationship and how to relate to others in a healthy way. So what about compassion is the mirror? Eight of Swords. Eight of Swords speaks to restriction and feeling trapped. You know, she's got all these swords pointing at her and she can't move. But the other aspect of this card is that it's kind of like, especially in one of my other decks, it kind of portrays this in a really good way. It's an illusion. It's almost like some of the lessons that Spirit puts us through, they're kind of shitty in the midst of it, in the middle of it, but it serves a purpose, and then once you're on the other side of it, you can go like, I see why that happened. But it feels restricting and makes you feel trapped in the moment. Let's get two more. Three of Wands. The Three of Wands is kind of a dreaming card. Dreaming how things could be, dreaming of your life in a certain way, but it's taking no action steps towards it. It's just the visualization of it. more. No, it's too many. Just one more. I really want to say, like, maybe the world feels restrictive to you, and you might be, like, waiting for the world to become more compassionate. Waiting for the world to feel like a 10 of cups, where everybody loves each other and everything's cozy and comforting. That's not realistic. But if like I said, if we continue to believe that the world is not compassionate, that's all we'll see. I am hearing that song by Michael Jackson. I'm starting with The Man in the Mirror. Part of creating that compassionate world is taking a look at where you can exercise more compassion in your life. And, it starts with the man in the mirror, as we're talking about mirrors. If we remain compassionate and we believe the world to be compassionate, the universe has no choice but to reflect that back. But then we have Nine of Swords. So the Nine of Swords is like anxiety, worry, sleepless nights. It's kind of the anxiety card. It's those thoughts that run like 1,000,000 miles an hour in no direction. Yeah, I almost just keep thinking, like, as you lay your head to go to sleep at night, like, you're thinking of all the ways that the world lacks compassion and care and empathy and gentleness and acceptance. And it's causing you to lose sleep. It's causing anxiety and worry. But as we have, like I said, if we have that belief, that's what's going to be reflected back at us. And that's what's going to make you feel trapped and restricted. You might believe that the world is unkind to people who hold on to their compassion. But again, that's a belief. We have to shift that belief. It's like, because with the Three of Wands being a dreaming card, it's like you're dreaming of a more compassionate world. And in doing that, it creates the illusion that the world is not already compassionate, which is causing that worry. It's like you're dreaming of the 10 of Cups, but not seeing where it's already showing up in your life. I was trying to think of a way that this would work if, like, maybe somebody in your life did not show you compassion and it made you feel a certain way, and that is an aspect of you, of not showing somebody compassion, or maybe not showing yourself compassion. But I don't really think it's a person. It really feels like, obviously, with the world events of late, it's almost like we're focusing on that, on these world events that are kind of scary. Not scary, but like troubling. And that makes us think, the world needs more love. The world needs more compassion. But it's like it's almost going to the extreme with you. It's like actually causing you to lose sleep. It's causing you to like have this endless thought loop around it. And I would advise taking a look at those thoughts. And anytime, it's like I told the other signs, like, replace you with I. Or I did say that at the beginning. So it's like, the world needs more compassion. Replace that with I. I need more compassion. There's something about the faith card that, like, doesn't feel complete. If we're talking about starting with the man in the mirror and practicing and exercising more compassion ourselves, leaning into your own faith is a really good way to do that. Is there anything else that wants to be said? No, it just keeps coming back to where you can find ways in your own life to be more compassionate yourself. Yeah. Okay. So since that is complete, if this is where we part, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It does help the channel to grow. And then I would also like to offer a reminder that I do personal readings. I can do in-person readings, but I can also do readings via email if you're not local. If that's something that interests you, you can take a look at our Facebook page, Ascendria, and click the Book Now button, or you can go to our website, which is ascendriallc.com, and then it should be on the homepage, and you can click on the tarot side and click Book Now. But yeah, just wanted to offer that reminder. And yeah, that's it. So have a good rest of your week, and I will see you next week. Bye. Alright, Earth signs, you are up. If you haven't watched the collective message, you can do so, or if you don't want to go watch the collective message and you just want your signs reading, we're talking about mirrors today. And the two different aspects of the mirror is if something like triggers you from somebody else, that's an aspect of yourself. It's showing you yourself. Or it's our beliefs create our reality, in the sense that the universe can only provide you evidence to support your beliefs. So if you believe if you believe life to be hard, the universe says, yes, life is hard, let me show you how. So we're using the chakra deck today to see what area you might be experiencing these mirrors. Area might earth signs be experiencing these mirrors? Emotional balance. Kind of a pretty card. I don't think I've ever pulled this card either. Stability, harmony, peace, and fluidity. Emotional balance. I would see that as like harmony between the light and the dark. Harmony between love and anger, and loving that anger. Doesn't necessarily have to be anger. Could be some other emotion. For earth signs regarding emotional balance. It's too many. Okay, that's 3. So we have the Fool, which represents new beginnings. It goes a little deeper than new beginnings, though. It's leaping into the unknown without knowing what you're doing, without knowing how it's going to play out, without knowing the outcome, without knowing anything really, and just diving in head first. And just kind of almost like a fake it till you make it kind of energy. And then we have the Hermit, which is kind of it is an intentional self-isolation. And it can speak to meditation, because that is kind of a self-imposed isolation. But it's to hear yourself better, and it's to hear spirit better. But then we have 8 of Swords. which water signs also got Eight of Swords, so there might be something in there for you as well. But it speaks to restriction and kind of feeling trapped. And yet it's an illusion. If we believe ourselves to be trapped, the universe says, yes, you are trapped. Let me show you how. Could be that meditation and kind of sitting with yourself and getting to the center of yourself, that might be kind of new to you. Kind of like this, I have no idea what I'm doing, which is how a lot of people feel when they first start getting into meditation. You know, it's like, oh, I don't know how to meditate. You literally just sit there with yourself. That's it. That's it. A lot of people are like, oh, but my mind wanders. I'm bad at meditating. That's a false restriction. You're supposed to let your mind wander. And once you realize that your thoughts have wandered, that's when you kind of reel it in and bring it back to your breath or your visualization. But it's meditation is to let go of that control over the mind. It's to let it wander as it will. That's like half the deck. It's not like half the deck, but still. Let's give me 2 more for earth signs. Just 2 more. More for earth signs regarding this message. There's 1. I have the 3 of Wands, which water signs also got. This is kind of a dreaming card. It's waiting for your ship to come in. It's visualizing the life that you want, but taking absolutely no action steps towards it. Which it could speak to like that negative aspect of constantly dreaming and never taking a step towards it. But it also could speak towards like not forcing things and letting it come to you. Do I want these 2? No, I only want 1 more. I want 2. I want just 1. Just 1 more for earth signs. There we go. 7 of Wands, which is kind of a defensive energy. The first 3 cards kind of feel like the most clear. Excuse me. I really want to say this is about some form of meditation. Because it's some sort of self-isolation that is new to you, but you believe that it's going to create more emotional balance, but there's this restriction that you're placing on yourself that it has to be a certain way. There's 3 of Wands and 7 of Wands. It's kind of throwing me for a loop. Excuse me. Your reading is making me yawn a lot. That's another false concept with meditation. People beat themselves up if they fall asleep. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Maybe you needed the sleep. It's 3 of Wands, though. I almost want to say with the 7 of Wands that defensive energy, it's almost like it feels like you're trying to get to the life that you want and visualize that, and you're dreaming of it. Oh my goodness, excuse me. You're dreaming of the life that you want. You're visualizing it. And it feels like somebody may have made a suggestion to meditate, or it might be that, the entire spiritual community suggests meditation and kind of using that meditation as a visualization tool for the life that you want. And it's almost like you're getting defensive about it. Like, I can't do that. I can't meditate. I'm not good at meditating. And you put all these restrictions on yourself. But in getting defensive, it's almost like just the mere suggestion of meditation triggers you and makes you defensive. There's too many ways, there's too many thoughts that run through with that defensive energy around meditation. So I would just say keep an eye on your thoughts whenever somebody suggests meditation. And when you feel that defensive energy coming up, pay attention to the thoughts. I think this one is a little bit more, yes, somebody suggesting it might trigger you, but I feel like the thoughts, the negative thoughts, are more surrounding meditation itself rather than the person suggesting it. So your thoughts around meditation are going to kind of indicate your beliefs around meditation. So it's like if you constantly sit there and believe that meditation is hard, the universe says, yes, meditation is hard. Let me show you how. It gives you all the evidence as to why getting silent with yourself is hard. I don't know if you're tired or if I'm tired, but for some reason with your reading, all I can do is yawn. And that might be another belief around meditation, is that it's boring. But if that's what you believe that meditation brings, is boredom, that's what it's going to do. It's going to reflect that boredom back to you. The other thing is, if it's not meditation, it could be finding a new way of getting silent with yourself and getting centered. You know, maybe you had an idea pop up of something you could do to get away from everybody and get silent with yourself. Like, I don't know, maybe a retreat comes up in your mind. And it's almost like your brain gets defensive of like, oh, we can't do that. We can't book a retreat like that. And so it's restricting you. Or creating the illusion of restriction. But you keep thinking about it and you keep dreaming about it. You know, maybe one of the defensive, restricting thoughts is, I can't afford that. Well, if we're constantly saying that I can't afford that, the universe says, yes, you can't afford that. Let me show you how. It all seems to kind of center around this getting quiet with yourself, though. I think this is one of those you'll have to use your discernment on what is so triggering about getting still and silent and quiet with yourself. Even if you're really good at that, there may be a layer of limiting defensive thoughts around getting silent and quiet with yourself, even if you're good at it. There may be some form of defensive thought around it. Yeah, I think my reading of these cards is pretty complete. You'll have to use your own discernment and kind of continue to go down this rabbit hole within yourself to get to that emotional balance. Yeah. I think that's all I can tell you. If this is where we part, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It does help the channel to grow. And I would also like to offer up a little bit of a reminder that I do personal readings. I can do in-person readings if you're local. If you're not local, I also do readings via email. You can book on our Facebook page or on our website at ascendriallc.com. And yep, that's it. So have a good words, Katie, words. Have a good rest of your week, and I will see you next week. Bye. Okay, last but certainly not least, my fellow fire signs. If you just jumped into your reading and you did not watch the collective message, we're talking about mirrors today. You can either go watch it, or I can explain just briefly. There's two aspects to the mirror. There's our beliefs that form our reality, and there's encounters with people that trigger us, and it's showing us an aspect of ourselves that we've rejected or denied that need a little bit more love. So, we're going to use the chakra deck to see what area of your life you may be experiencing these mirrors. Where might fire signs be experiencing these mirrors? Relationships. Which, every relationship is a mirror, just saying. Intimacy, freedom, acceptance, and trust. Okay. So let's dive in and figure out, what is it about relationships for fire signs that is presenting a mirror? Four of Coins. The Four of Coins speaks towards like apathy, boredom, not really like seeing what you have. Because the concept is he's kind of staring up at this dream or illusion of this fancy, pretty cup, but he's not looking at what he already has. He already has these fancy, pretty cups, but he's focusing on what he doesn't have, focusing on the lack. So, I mean, if you're single and you don't want to be, but you have this belief of, I'll be forever alone, I'll always be single, yada yada, the universe says yes. Let me show you how. The other thing is like, if there's a particular relationship in your life and you're looking at them like, you don't even see what you have, you're not grateful for what you have. Like I told the other signs, pay attention to those thoughts. Give me just a moment. So, had a customer in, and I don't know, it's a perfect example of our beliefs and how it creates our reality, and our reality mirrors that belief back to us. I was thinking a little bit ago about how the business started to feel like it was like getting a little stagnant, kind of plateauing. And I kind of caught myself, and I was like, but if that's your belief, that's what's going to be reflected back. So I was trying to kind of hold on to the belief that, we're growing, we're making money, everything will be absolutely perfect, and then boom, customer. Love that. I love how that works. Could I tell you what I was talking about before I got up? Nope. So we'll just continue on. Anything else for fire signs? I think I was talking about replacing you or they with I when it comes to your thoughts. Like, you don't realize what you have, or you're not grateful for what you have. Replace that with I. I'm not grateful for what I have. I don't appreciate what I have. And then see how that feels, and see what areas of your life it may be true. Maybe in relationships. And then we have Two of Swords. Oh, how interesting. Two of Swords usually indicates a decision. And it's usually it is depicted with a blindfold, because it's usually a decision where not all the information is out on the table yet. So it's like you don't have all of the variables in the light in order to make that decision. And maybe it's a decision around a relationship where you're pointing the finger, and you're doing this, and you're doing that, and you're doing this, and you're doing that, and you're not doing this, and you're not doing that. And you're not seeing things clearly, which is a really good time to take a look at that mirror. What is it mirroring you? Or like, what aspect of yourself is it mirroring, and what is it trying to show you? Anything else for fire signs? Nine of Swords, which is anxiety and worry. Sleepless nights. It's the mind going a million miles an hour, thinking of all the ways everything could go wrong. But then we have the 10 of Coins, which is like physical, material, financial abundance. I would definitely say that the anxiety and worry is probably surrounding that choice that you need to make, or that you're wanting to make. Maybe you think you have to make the choice to lead to that abundance, and maybe it's you that doesn't see what you already have. So I pulled 2 instead of 1, and we have the Tower, which the Tower is absolute chaos and destruction. However, it gets a bad rep. That destruction and chaos serves a purpose. If you are asking Spirit for something and you are not on the right path to get there, Spirit will kind of pull the rug out from underneath you to get you on the right path. And that is what the Tower is about. It is destroying something to make room for something better. I almost want to say this is a perceived tower. Then we have the Queen of Coins. And the Queen of Coins, she takes care of her people. She makes sure they're clothed, fed, sheltered, happy. And she does that in a very grounded way. Almost like she knows how to take care of people without losing herself. Queen of Coins. This is such an interesting combo. So the way these cards fell, like, the way I lay them out and the order in which they came in, you have the Two of Swords in the center, right? That's the decision. And then on either side of that is the Tower and the Ten of Coins. I kind of see this as the decision to be made. Either to cause destruction and chaos, or to create more abundance in your life as it is now. That could be the decision that needs to be made. I feel like because the Nine of Swords is on this side with the Tower, thinking about leaving causes you so much anxiety and worry. But it's almost like the decision to stay and create an abundant life with what you already have, it feels like maybe that's a little bit impossible because you don't believe that you have what you need in order to do that. Which, if that's the belief, then that is what will persist. But then where does the Queen of Coins come in this? I kind of want to see what the book has to say. Because every deck is a little bit different. The Queen of Wands nurtures independence and self-expression. She advises you to be engaged, passionate, and creative, and to not hold back. It's something about the independence and self-expression keeps drawing me in, especially like this description says that this depiction of the Queen of Wands it says usually the Queen of Wands is seen with like a positive, cheerful disposition, but in this version, it's more of an impression that she's saying, don't mess with me. This queen is an independent soul who wants things on her own terms. If you deal with her fairly, you will secure her trust, but if not, you'll be her undying enmity. And then God help you. Kind of reminds me of that saying that's like, if you're not capable of destruction, you're not peaceful, you're harmless. But it's also like that independence and self-expression. It's almost like, It's almost like if there's any thoughts of like, you're not allowing me to be independent, you're not allowing me to express myself in the way that I want to, replace that with I. I'm not allowing me to express myself in the way that I want to. Or take a look at how maybe you're not allowing others to express themselves the way they want to. You know, normally that Four of Cups is kind of like not seeing what you have. But I feel like the only reason why that came out is to kind of give that aspect of you're not seeing things clearly. There's a loud honk. That might be confirmation. I would take a look at what are your beliefs and your thoughts about this person in this relationship. And it doesn't have to be romantic. It could absolutely be a friend or a coworker. But I would definitely take a look at what your beliefs are around that person and what your thoughts are about that person, and see if you can find any mirrors, any aspects of yourself that you've rejected or denied or pushed away, squashed, repressed, however you want to say it. And that, taking a look at that mirror might help you make this decision. Is there anything else that wants to be said? It's almost like you're almost questioning yourself, this like kind of division, because I wish you could see it the way I laid it out. It like goes upward this way in a diagonal and upward this way in a diagonal, and like this direction kind of leads to the anxiety and worry and that tower moment, leaving, causing destruction and chaos. And it's like, you know, the other direction is, you know, this abundant life and maybe not seeing things clearly. So it's like you're almost questioning yourself, am I really, are these anxious, worried thoughts really valid? And is that leaving and destruction, is that warranted? Or am I not seeing things clearly and I have a lot more than I think I do? You know what I mean? Like, it's like you're questioning yourself on that illusion. And the only one who can decide that is you. Maybe you're not seeing things clearly. Maybe these anxious and worried thoughts are part of that mirror. Yeah, I really feel like that mirror might really help make this decision more clear. Yeah, okay, so that feels complete. If this is where we part, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It does help the channel to grow. And I would like to offer a reminder that I do personal readings. I can do in-person readings, or I can do readings via email for people who aren't local. If you want to book a reading with me, you can either go on our Facebook page, Ascendria, and click the Book Now button, or you can go to our website, which is ascendriallc.com, and we have a Book Now button on our website as well. It should be on the homepage. But yeah, have a wonderful rest of your week, and I will see you next week. Bye.